Yo, what's up, guys? This is Why Not Be Reckless, aka Why Not Be Casting. I'm one of the HCS commentators, and we have another HCS weekly report where today and for the rest of the week, we're going to be going over every single team that is qualified for DreamHack Dallas. We've already done Sentinels, Rebellion, Avengers, Nidahwat, and now we're going to be doing Gamers First. But before we get into the video, I gotta ask you guys a question of the day. And knowing that Kenny Vaccaro is one of the owners of Gamers First, and obviously former NFL player, I need to know, who's your current NFL team? Are you a bandwagoner? Have you been hopping from team to team, or have you been a day one NFL teamer or fan, I should say, since the moment that you came out of the womb until now? I need to know who is your favorite NFL team right now, and how long have you been a fan of them? Either way, let's get right into the video. Gamers First, as we said, I believe owners are Kenny Vaccaro and Mikowski, who's not only a content creator but a caster, and they always talk about putting gamers first, and they always talk about how important the content is, and how the content is the lifeblood of the org. And I just think with the motto and everything they stand for, represent it, I'm a fan of what Gamers First represent. Also a fan of their players. So you have Boo Boo Dubu, all around player. He's been a mainstay on teams. He's been objective players on team. He does whatever it takes for his team to win. Falcated, who I called last year my most underrated player that's in the game. No matter who he was teaming with, the likes of the Bounds, the Snipe Downs, the Renegades, Falcated. When you look at the advanced analytics, they say that he's the best player on any team that he's on. You put Falcon on a team, he is going to kill the other team as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Then you have Sab, another high damage dealer, very hard kill, rounds out this team very well. Him and Falcated really were that firepower duo that were coming in. And then you have Suppressed, who more recently was suspected on the roster, who was great at staying alive. Suppressed, kind of the opposite of suspected. They're both high damage dealing players, but when I think of Suppressed, I think of like in the action, in your face, and always being that high damage dealer, and most time high kill leader, but being the first in. Where I think it was Suspector, I think, doing a great job of ducking and diving, hitting and moving. He puts shots, stays alive. Where Suppressor, he's in there and he's doing damage, and maybe that's what Gamers First needed, considering that they've been having a bit of a rough time. Really not really meeting the bar that some of us had for them. But we'll let the facts, we'll let the stats speak for themselves. Before we get to the actual team and what they did over at Charlotte, let's talk about the pool that they're in, which is Pool C. You have Optic, G1, Quadrant, and J-Lings. And Eli the Ninja's in the chat right now. We are recording this video live, by the way, before it gets to YouTube. We always recorded it live a day or two before. And as Eli the Ninja said, they have a really tough pool. Honestly, you have the number one seed as far as HCS points, Optic Gaming, back to back LAN champions, looking to four-peat with this event. You have Quadrant, the number one team in Europe, and honestly, when you look at all of the seeds that are below, I would say top 6 and below, I would say that Quadrant are probably the most dangerous team when they go up against the big dogs like the Optics and the FaZe and the Space Station Gaming. I give Quadrant more faith than I do like a team like maybe like a Shopify Rebellions or even a Sentinels. I think Quadrant really are the real deal, and they're gonna be tough to deal with. By the way, they're actually already in America right now, scrimming and putting in that work already, so clearly they're taking it seriously. Clearly they're mentally preparing themselves for the time zone switch that they're gonna have to go through. I like Quadrant, and then you have another European team in J-Lings, who are made up of a nice mix of a youth and even veterans as well, kind of a been there, done that, players that perform better on LAN than they do online. This is probably one of the hardest pools for out of all of them I can imagine. I'm looking at I think Pool C honestly might be the pool of death, and one of the hardest ones to gauge. But G1, we had high expectations for them going into this year, and those expectations are not changing. They got to go out and do the damn thing, and hopefully they're gonna be able to do so. Let's talk a little bit about where they start at the beginning of the year. So Gamers First ended up finishing top 6. Before going into Charlotte, I said that Gamers First are the 4th best team in the world. I said eventually they would surpass Space Station Gaming as the number 3 best team in the world. I think with Gamers First finishing in the top 6, I think if your name isn't Optic, FaZe, or Space Station Gaming, I don't think anybody's going to be upset with finishing top 6. I mean, and obviously, you know, you shoot for higher. You know, I'm sure Gamers First wanted to be top 4. I'm sure they want to be top 3. Damn it, I'm sure they probably wanted to make a grand finals. But I'm saying you're not going to be upset with top 6, I would imagine. I remember going into Charlotte, they matched up against Native White in pool play, and actually, I believe Gamers First beat Native White in those pools. But when it came to bracket play, playing for that top 4 positioning, Native White did get their revenge on Gamers First, all the way from the open bracket into the top 4. Native White went on a miraculous run. It was only stopped by Space Station Gaming. Gamers First were just in their way. Again, this is back when that's a Spectre as opposed to Suppressed. Fast forward, I think maybe 2 months later, we see Gamers First, I believe their first event with Suppressed coming out in 3rd. And with the up and down season that Gamers First had, a 3rd place finish is, to me, incredible. You know, you upset the likes of Optics and the Space Station Gamings and Native Reds as far as positioning wise. Not that they ran into all 4 of those teams, but they did run into some of them, including Native Red, a 3-0 favor of G1, and against what I'm going to call Native Red to be a rival, because I feel like Native Red and G1 have matched up multiple times, and it's always a dogfight. It's always going to a game 5. It's always separated by just a couple of kills. It can go either way most of the time, but honestly, recently I think Native Red have had the better of G1, but they go out and sweep them in round 1 of the upper bracket. Again, just 2 months separated from Charlotte. G1 with Suppressed, we're looking really good. Good enough to take a game off of FaZe, but not good enough to pull off the major upset, because that would have been incredible. Not going to beat up G1 for losing to FaZe. You know, I think this went as expected. G1 did at least take a game off of them. After losing to FaZe, I think it's very easy for a team to get defeated. You know, you're on a roll. You end up getting stopped by a team that you've rarely won against. I think they beat them once during the before Charlotte, but that's the only one I can really think of. It's very easy to get defeated and hang your head low, but G1 come out swinging, and you go up against Space Station Gaming, who I will admit, recently Space Station Gaming have been looking polished and incredible. Back late April, they were still good, but I would say that, you know, they were still great even, but I would say that we didn't see the same level of eliteness. We were thinking of it as like, you know, Optic and FaZe, and then like, you know, at a distant 3rd, still above 4th, was Space Station Gaming. Now what we know about Space Station Gaming and what they've been looking like now, incredible. But still a good win for G1 regardless. Whether it was a Space Station Gaming at their best or at their worst, still Space Station Gaming are going to be Space Station Gaming regardless, and this is a great win for them. Into another 3-0 against Native Red, and eventually getting 3-0'd by Complexity, another team that saw major changes after Rosetermania. Complexity coming out with the 3-0, and the same Complexity that mind you upset many teams, including Optic Gaming, and even took FaZe to a game 7. So not a bad run whatsoever. G1 picked up Suppressed, and then immediately went on an upward trend. And I'm not gonna lie, I was looking at it, I said, whoa, G1 are back. Let's, get ready to hop back on the bandwagon, because if they continue to put results like this, they're going to be top 4 once again, and they're going to be legitimately contending for top 3 once again. Then May 4th came along, and this was the 2K, after the 4, and mind you, like a week or two afterward. And Gamers First ended up finishing out top 6 in North America, not top 6 in the world, like back in Charlotte, which is still not the end of the world. You got to think that if this was an international event, maybe Gamers First have to go through Quadrant, have to go through Navi, and many other teams like Luminosity or even Six Karma. So maybe top 6 would have been a little bit harder, but I still think top 6 in North America is great. Lots of times, top 6 in North America will translate into top 6 in the world. So, again, I'm not going to beat Gamers First up. We did see a little bit of a decline, but hey, now we're starting to see what the team is, really made. The honeymoon is over. Now what happens when y'all are arguing about the bills? Do y'all just give up and say, let's call it quits, or do you push through it? Figure things out. What is the marriage like? I don't need to know what the marriage is like during the honeymoon. I need to know what the marriage is like, when y'all are really being tested. I don't know why I made that analogy. I don't know. Shut up. See what exactly happened then. Proton Gaming 3-2 over G1. Now, we said we're not gonna punish G1 for getting top 6 in North America. But as much as I love the team, as much as I love the org, I have to point out that if you're G1 and you're a top 6 team, legitimately fighting for top 4 and eventually top 3, if you're in that stratosphere, you gotta find a way to get over the hump. And mind you, Proton Gaming is great. They really are. Obviously Proton Gaming have been there, done that team. They got top 12 back at Charlotte. If you guys don't remember that miraculous run that they went on from the open bracket into top 12, was great. I'm sure this game meant a lot to Squall going up against his former team that, that he put in that sweat equity back in season 1. And mind you, it doesn't have to be bad blood, but it's always in the back of your mind, like, hey, going against my former team, I want to show off, I want to go double positive, I want to get that win. It always means a little bit more when you're going up against your former team. Proton Gaming, able to not only take G1 the distance into a game 5, but beat them out in that game 5 to knock G1 into elimination bracket, a team that arguably G1 shouldn't be losing to. After getting knocked down to elimination bracket, G1 was able to pull off the 3-1 over Sentinels, eventually taking Native Red to Game 5. Sadly, wasn't able to get over the hump this time, a week separated from 6-0ing Native Red, both in winners and losers bracket. G1 losing out that Game 5. Native Red getting the slight best of them, knocking G1 out of the tournament and into that top 6 finish. Fast forward into May 13th, the final online event leading up into DreamHack Dallas. Your phase qualifier. This is a big event. This is your last opportunity to show everyone that you're ready for LAN. You're putting on the finishing touches. If this is a Sunday, this is the cherry that has to go on top. Gamers First are nowhere to be found. So we started off here. We were like here for Gamers First at Charlotte. We went up in that 4K, down a little bit. During the 2K, and now down a little bit more during that final phase Dallas qualifier, and it is what it is. Let's talk about how we got here, and let's talk about if they're going to ultimately stay here. In round 1 in winners bracket, G1 ended up running into Space Station Gaming. Space Station Gaming are a top 3 team in the world. As we kind of talked about multiple times over the last couple of weeks, Space Station Gaming have looked polished and looked ready to make that to make that jump into the same categories as Optic or FaZe. It was Optic and FaZe as 1 and 2, and then kind of like, not almost in the same tier, like maybe tier 1.5 with Space Station Gaming. Space Station Gaming over the last 2 weeks have put themselves back in that tier 1 category and said the moment that you forget about us is the moment we're going to shock you and we're going to make you pay. G1 ultimately getting 3-0'd by them. Not the end of the world. So it's there's never a good team to lose to, I guess, but there's worse teams to lose to than Space Station Gaming. And the same way that I would say that G1 should have been beating Proton Gaming, G1 got to beat Rebellion. Again, you're supposed to be a top 6 team, legitimately contending for top 4, and with a stretch goal, top 3. In my opinion, when I look at Rebellion, I see a top 8 team legitimately fighting for top 6 with a stretch goal top 4. You're supposed to be a tier above them, and it's not to say that Rebellion can't beat G1. Of course they can. They did, obviously. It's not that I'm sitting there saying it's totally out of reach, but I think 9 times out of 10, you're G1, you have to be Rebellion. Simple as that. They did take it to a game 5. Rebellion did get the best of them, and Rebellion eventually go on to get 3-1 by Native Red, and this is what knocked G1 out of top 8, ultimately into top 12. It's not the worst finish in the world, but it to go from top 6 in the world to top 3 in North America, top 6 in North America, and then a week afterwards top 12, it's an obvious decline. And no matter how much I love the org, no matter how much I love the players, no matter how much I love everything they represent, I gotta be fair. What I will say is, even though G1 did not end the last tournament the way they probably wanted to, the way we expected, the way I expected, I will say, taking 4 games off of Optic Gaming and Scrims, not bad. Taking 6 out of 14 against Space Station Gaming, not bad. Taking 6 out of 16 against FaZe, again, not bad. And then beating the team that ultimately knocked you out in that elimination bracket for top 12, again, beating them by getting 1. Honestly, not bad. We beat up some of the other teams earlier for getting 13-0'd, by Optic, for getting 12-2'd by FaZe. We beat up them for not getting a few wins. I'm not gonna sit here and write home about losing, but I'm saying if as long as you're taking 4 or more games off of the top 3, I'm not considering that bad. I personally don't think that's a bad scrim. If anything, I would argue and say it's good. The top 3 teams in the world. Not bad. So, the question now I have is, would G1? Because so far, we're seeing a giant roller coaster. I'll repeat, from top 6 in the world, top 3 in North America, to top 6 in North America, to top 12 in North America, to going the distance against the top 3 in scrims. Who the hell are G1? I don't know. But I'm gonna go in with the same expectations that I had pretty much going into Charlotte. Same I had before. I think there's a legitimate tier 1 with Space Station, Phase, and Optic in your tier 1, not in that order. And I think in tier 2, we have Native Red, G1. It's going to be hard for me to keep Native White in there, but I'll keep Native White in there. And then if complexities show anywhere near what we've seen with them on LAN that we have online, I think they're at, the upper echelon of that tier 2. I still have G1 as tier 2. I still have them as a top 6 team in the league, and I still have them legitimately fighting for top 4, maybe beyond if they go hot. But whatever it was that happened during that last 4K cannot happen again. Gotta figure it out. Well, guys, that's your HCS Weekly Report. Yeah, if you like this kind of content, make sure you leave a like, comment down below. Let me know. Subscribe to the YouTube, all that good stuff. And, guys, make sure you're following the Twitch channel. There's no shot that you're not following the Twitch channel. We actually record these videos live the day or two before on Twitch. So if you want to catch it before everyone else, make sure you guys on the Twitch. We also stream every single day. No freaking breaks, no days off. And, yeah, until next time, next one's going to be Complexity.